Hey guys, today we are going to talk about changes, fixes, and improvements that could be made to Final Fantasy XIV. And before we move further, I feel like just asking what would you fix about Final Fantasy XIV is enough to upset some people. I actually have had to clarify.
I, on the other hand, am actually happy because after the last two videos that I've been reacting for, I think like almost 3 hours, I think this is actually finally some like examples and insight that we can get on what the hell do people want from this game.
More than one time that when I ask what would you fix about Final Fantasy XIV, I'm not implying, I don't mean to imply that the game is fundamentally broken. Okay, it's not all or nothing.
It's not broken, but there's a lot of stuff that is shit and needs changing.
It's completely dilapidated and crumbling, and we just have to desperately fix it to put it back together. And the game is so perfect that there's literally nothing that could be changed to improve it. Alright, there's somewhere in between.
You shut your mouth. Ocean fishing is perfect. I'm kidding.
Two things where I believe we are, and where most things are in life, contrary to what you might hear on the internet. There's always room for growth, there's always room for improvement, especially in an MMO as large and as old as Final Fantasy XIV. So please don't think that we're out here trying to just crap on the game. We are.
How dare you argue with our
reaction stamina?
Flexing, that scared me. It's been a while since the last TTS that actually fucking scared me.
You're trying to focus on solutions and not even just a
Okay, finally, solutions and examples and insight. Let's go.
For this video today, I wanted to focus on the main complaints and suggestions and fixes.
I'm curious about the suggestions. I don't care about the complaints anymore.
Time and time again. I put up a tweet and I got almost 700 responses, and I read through them all, and
686 responses. And even bookmarks. Ooh.
I could mostly put everything into just a few major categories that people seem to complain about the most, that people want to see changes in the most. As a wise Bun did point out, 14 is great in a lot of ways, but frustrating in others. The former does outnumber the latter, but that doesn't discount the latter entirely. Otherwise, the game never has a chance of improving.
Cool.
So the first one that people bring up time and time again is the netcode. The netcode, this built-in lag that the game has, and how long it takes for things like your character position to update. I don't know if you've ever tried to follow somebody in a fight to just see where they're going. This is not a good idea, and it is not advised, because wherever it looks like they are on your screen is not where they are. Of course, this leads to problems in PvP scenarios.
I do agree on terms of netcode. It could be much better, but it's like changing it completely. It's like, that's very unreasonable considering a lot of the game is just based on snapshots, like the telegraphs being snapshot, and how your rotation works with like the whole between like at least a minimum of a second, like at least like a second 0.2 minimum for delays. It's like, it could be a lot cleaner, it could be a lot better, because like sometimes the snapshots are just fucking weird and unreasonable. For example, like on P12 West, P1, there's like some really weird snapshots. But it's like, netcode is not gonna change, not for a while at least.
Where it's hard to know where
we can only hope it at least looks pretty with a graphical update.
One person pointed out that the bag ping gets you murdered. I'm sure that's true in a lot of PvP situations, but in FF14 it's especially noticeable because it really needs to be pretty snappy so you can make quick reactions to stuff. One person pointed out that it could fundamentally...
I do agree about the PvP. PvP sometimes feels weird. Sometimes you will just not realize and somehow you're missing 3/4 of your health out of nowhere, and it's just like, it's because it's between like not like server ticks, but it's like in very weird and snappy ways. So it's like, it snaps at weird moments. I do agree on PvP. PvP could be a lot more refined.
Only disrupt the entire way jobs and boss encounters are designed, so it probably never happened. Well, actually, it does seem like they still design.
Yes, the samurai debuff not applying after a server tick, so my LB doesn't work. That's true as well, yeah.
The boss encounters as though this does not exist. There's some straight up sadistic things they ask you to do, considering the net.
No, like all boss fights encounters are designed around being able to recover within like at least 2-3 GCDs. Like the netcode is shit, but they are designing fight. That's the reason like we have a lot of these like weird dance puzzles, boss fights, especially this expansion. And there's a reason like a lot of the mechanics happen like every 30 fucking seconds.
Code of the game. Things like passing off tethers or just needing to be in a specific spot at a certain time. Like, you need to be there ahead of time.
Like, I would like to... Exhibit A.
Of the game.
Yes, you see the tether.
Things like
1,
passing off
2,
tethers or just needing
3,
to be in a specific spot at a certain
4.
time. Like, you need to be there ahead of time.
5th GCD is when... that is 10 seconds. 10 seconds is like 1/6
faster
of a minute.
Which is pretty annoying. Yes, I know that they built this into the game because it's supposed to...
Maybe I'm just being picky, but it's like, yeah, it's like some snapshots could be a lot better, but it's like the game designs bosses around these specific quirks. It's like they're not designing boss fights around Japanese servers. There's a reason some of the boss fights are designed like that. There's a reason our GCDs are so weird. And there's a reason like the snapshots and telegraphs work like that compared to like a lot of the other games.
To reduce the load on the server, and even with that, the servers seem to have...
It's not about the load of the server at this point. They have plenty of servers. They're doing cloud servers soon as well. They open new servers. It's like, it's not about the load on the server anymore. It's about how the base code has been developed and what they had to build upon. And it's like, you can't really wreck the foundation and change or refine a lot of things without affecting a lot of things. It's obviously like a lot of gamers will essentially just think just fix the code, and it's like, but the whole issue with coding is like when you try to fix 3 bugs, you're gonna be left with 7. It's like way too many things affect other things, and it's like no one person knows the entire code.
Have a pretty hard time when there's a lot of people in the same area, so I get that the server needs all the help it can get, but
there's a reason we don't see past like a certain number of people, especially when we're like in capital cities. It's like the server can deal with 8 people in an instance, or like the big S ranks.
I do wish that we could see some improvements on the responsiveness.
I'm sure we'll see some improvement eventually, but it's like, it's gonna take a while because they need to play really safe with stuff like this. This stuff can be really fucking game breaking.
Well, I don't know if you've ever tried to kill a hunt boss in the world right after the server, this expansion came out. Because if you have been in a zone when a buttload of people are in it, and you have seen the boss just vanish and flicker out of existence.
I mean, if it's at the start of the expansion, that is way different. That is way different load on the server than what you think. It's not depending on the code. It's specifically dependent on the bandwidth. A better code is not gonna improve that.
You can't even see it, like it just, everything seems to be breaking down. The fabric of reality just falls apart. You can't, you just have to kind of trust and like follow everyone else with where they are going to fight the boss. It is really jank. It is really embarrassing. But I really think, and also I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where there was a lot of people in a zone and you couldn't leave.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go.
Okay, yeah, this I agree with. This is like very fucking stupid. Like, for example, if you go into an inn room, let's say in Limsa, there is a chance that your room, your hotel room in Limsa is congested. Because the way they made that room is that it's like other people are in there, they're just invisible. Which is a bit silly, because you have to go to another fucking inn room, but it's like you're trying to get into an inn room, and it's congested, and you don't know why, because of how some of these systems are built on. They were, but it's like changing those systems that are obviously going to affect a lot of the code, specifically in capital cities, or like resting areas specifically, but yeah, it is a bit dumb. I do agree with that one.
Okay, should I just keep spamming it?
Like, I had a party one time on EU servers, cross data center party with Preach, and People couldn't leave their houses because we had so many people in one residential district. People that were living in Ishgard were literally trapped inside their homes. Unfortunately, I do think that that is a big reason why we don't have a ton of open world content, why they've really shied away from it.
That's also one of the reasons why we have such limited item space in housings as well, or like specific limited housing to begin with, and like just general limitation on housing. It is very casual content, but it's like, God forbid you're gonna bring like a bunch of people in.
Remember adding a lot of open world content to that would draw people out into all those different zones, and usually the way that they handle it is just add extra
No, we do get open world content, but it's essentially Eureka and Baja. You need specific instances for that. You can't really just willy-nilly make an open world content, especially not with how safe they're playing with a lot of the content and memory basing. Like for example, the dwarf beast tribe. They specifically put it in Lakeland instead of like Kalusia somewhere, specifically because all the memory allocated for Kalusia was already taken, and they had free space in Lakeland to put that beast tribe there. So it's like they're very good with memory management, but yeah, a lot of stuff to improve on.
Instances of the same zone, and they'll make instance content like Baja or Eureka as a band-aid for this problem.
It's not really a band-aid. Baja is fun. It's great content.
Could do for,
especially when there's like a big fucking dual fate and everyone's surrounding you. That's not really a band-aid. That is a good solution. That is good content.
That one person who's actually a new player said that they're a new player. They've only been in the game for a very short time. They're super casual, but they feel like the world feels so empty. Zones feel like places for the main story quest to take place in, but otherwise lack personality, feel hollow, and lack charm. And one thing that I thought was...
That's honestly normal for MMOs. Even like more busier MMOs like World of Warcraft, for example, you got lots of open content, and it's all got to be very empty. Even like during like the peak of an expansion, you might see like a person or two here and there, but it's like it's got to be quiet anyway. People are just hanging out either at certain like interest points or in the capital. That's why the what's the capital in Dragonfly is called? Draken, whatever the fuck. And that's why that capital is still laggy. No, like even on my new PC, it's like it was still super laggy just to be in there.
Well, maybe if we can't have it be truly open world content, maybe let us enter an instanced version of that zone where we could do the open world content. Like if we have to make it this weird jank band-aid strat for it to be a place that we can do more exciting stuff in with lots of people without it breaking the game, then why not do that? Like just maybe make a copy of a region like Ultima Thule as if it were a Eureka region, or as if it were a Baja.
So your suggestion layering, which we already have, if there's too many people to avoid breaking an instance. Like, what kind of content will require you to go into a different specific instance? Like, for example, those instances are gonna be empty and just do nothing later on. That's pretty much what Baja is. It is an instance that you can go to. You don't need to hang out there and quest there, but it's like you can go there and do your stuff. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like firmament. It's like there's a housing area and there's a firmament. If you want some feed.
Region, there was Adnor. And so I could spend more time in some of these beautiful zones. Like Ultima Thule is one of the most amazing zones I've ever seen in a game. Like it just blew my mind with how incredible it is.
You can still go there.
I never go there. I never go. Like, I mean, we were there for Chi. Maybe they could add some more world bosses, because everybody was excited about Chi. I wish maybe...
I do agree on the world bosses. I understand why they're not adding more, but they could time them separately. But I do agree that they could add more world bosses, the more fun ones.
Maybe they could add more stuff like that. Look, tougher world bosses, super world bosses for people to fight. I would find a way to make all the zones that are currently in the game have more to them. The only things people go to the open world for is gathering, fates, main story, and side quests. We need more open world content to make the world more engaging. After playing Genshin and...
I disagree, honestly. The instances like Baja are perfect enough. Because like imagine, because otherwise that would make open world also a hindrance for people who are just questing or just going through the zone or just exploring or actually doing what he's mentioned, like gathering or other stuff. And imagine if you have to go through a fucking fate just to get somewhere. It's like, or if you cannot go into the zone because it's congested. I don't agree with that. I feel like the open worlds should be a bit more empty. They don't need to be constantly lively and have people in there. Yeah.
Even WoW to a degree. It's kind of nice to just feel like, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm just gonna run through this huge zone and look for little treasures that I might find hidden around and like run into.
Yeah, but you're playing like 95% of the time you play alone in Genshin Impact. You have to be engaged with like something else, if not other people.
Special puzzles and things that I can do and get little rewards for.
Same with World of Warcraft though. Like there are certain interest points, but the world, like you'll find all these puzzles and whatever the fuck collectibles, but like once that's done, you're just gonna be chilling in one spot. You're not gonna be engaging with the outside world.
Or along the way, like I wouldn't mind feeling like exploring and getting lost in the open world was a viable type of content that I could do, at least for a while. Now this next one is probably the most...
I'm 100% sure they added multiplayer at the end of Genshin because it's useless. They did add some form of multiplayer. I do remember seeing videos of it, but it's like I don't know why you want it, because majority of that content is just done on your own because it's still a gacha. You can't explore in Genshin in multi. Oh, that's stupid.
Desire to change.
WoW style transmog where it unlocks once you get
We'll have asked
No.
for it. For me,
No.
this one is probably nearest and dearest to my heart. Obviously, the transmog system, the Glamour system. For the love of God, please. I feel like I don't know what it's gonna take to get this to happen, but we just need the system that lets you pick up the armor appearance and you learn it. And then it's just saved automatically to your Glamour dresser.
In a sense, I do agree with this point about transmog, because like filling up inventory with items or just like filling up your armor or your mirror, whatever, it's like, or your Glamour closet is like, it can get tedious. But I also understand why it hasn't happened yet. I'm sure it'll happen eventually soon, especially now that they're implementing that a lot of the outfits that are going male can also be on females, because like, and vice versa. But you also need the item to exchange it into a female version. You can exchange it. Calamity Salvager, I think, does it. But it's like you can exchange some items specifically to look like a certain outfit. But because there's like male and female outfits, and there are different, it's not probably going to work like this. Because they need the itemization and the item code for certain aspects of. But I do understand, like, at some point, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it, it's just they cannot at the moment. At least that's my theory.
Not a thing that you need to carry around for the rest of your...
It's also like... It also makes your outfits in Glamours a lot more precious because you worked on them, you collected the items, you can dress up your retainers, you can dress up like the mannequins, and you can dress up other things. But like you can even see here, she has 39 pages just for the chest piece alone. Imagine scrolling constantly just to find something. Let alone dying it after that as well.
Your mortal lifespan, and you can't ever delete anything, and you need 9 different retainers.
73 pages just for a fucking cape slot. Like, I like the transmog system, but it's also an absolute fucking nightmare. You can even see she has 2 fucking purple capes right here that are literally the same item, but they're gonna take up a slot.
You need a full Glamour dresser. Like, just put as many Glamour dresser slots in the Glamour dresser as there are number of items in the game. I don't care what it takes for them to do this. Like, I don't care what other content they need to kill. Okay, not ultimate, but other content they need to kill to make this happen. But right now, it's so annoying. It's so frustrating that Final Fantasy XIV has some of the best looking gear in any game. Most beautiful outfits. I've ever seen. I want to collect every single one of them, of course. And yet, I can't because I simply do not have the space. And even if I have the space, half of that shit has to go in the retainers. And then I don't even have like a unified bank for all of the retainers. I have to talk to each retainer individually and then type, okay, /I search.
Yeah, the retainers are another fucking system. That's super annoying. They really need to have like personal banking or something besides the chocobo saddlebag and the retainers, because like going through all of them is such a fucking pain. Or at least like a system to check.
Buy big a closet.
Or that too, yeah. Buy 2 closets. But it's like, maybe, I don't know. Honestly, just at least have like a system where I don't need to /I search for a specific item. Let me just check all my inventories. Like, it doesn't matter where I have to store. Let me at least find the items by just navigating a certain menu, a UI, and not just I search a specific item just to figure out where the fuck did I put my uwu totems.
Search Neo-Ish Guardian, butt plug, or whatever. And then find, okay, well, with this.
And that too is like, I'm not always gonna remember like 16 different names for one item or of different colors or whatever. Like, I need a visual UI to find an item.
I'm gonna be in the 10th tab of Retainer 5, and then I have to go hunt that down. God, so it's so frustrating because I love collecting things. I love, you know, getting the little crow brain dopium every time I pick up something that I didn't have before, and wow, there's an add-on for that.
We all know you can't read. Huh?
That gives you a little sound effect whenever you pick up something you didn't have, and it's so great because it makes you want to do every piece of content in the entire game. Like, everything now becomes very relevant. Stuff that you didn't even want before, like appearances of items, you would want to get the appearance just to unlock the appearance to have it part of your collection.
You also need to keep in mind that compared to World of Warcraft, the appearance archive in Final Fantasy XIV is much less, because you get like, for example, you get like 2-3 outfits per tier. You get the Tombstone outfit, you get the Raid outfit, you get the Maps outfit, you get a couple of crafted outfits as well. It's like per specific job. It's like there's much less items than like you get like 16 different capes off of one raid boss in World of Warcraft, and you gotta collect that. Obviously, they had to develop that system for World of Warcraft, but it's like it's not as applicable in Final Fantasy XIV.
As much as I hate to admit it, WoW's is better. There's so many items in Final Fantasy, some sharing a model / being a recolor, that it's hard to keep track of it, to regrind for. This is our curse and our burden as Glamour enjoyers in Final Fantasy XIV. Because what happens is, you just start to memorize it all. As if it wasn't bad enough that you don't learn.
You also need to keep in mind that the transmogs are shared between all characters in World of Warcraft. And you don't have shared jobs. If you want to play a different class, you gotta fucking start all over again. You gotta start from level 1 and get a new character up and running. So it's like if they have to regrind all the Glamour, like all the transmog they collected, that'd be a nightmare. That's why their transmog is shared. But it's more rewarding, where in 14 or World of Warcraft. It's definitely a lot more rewarding in it's more rewarding to start over in WoW. Fuck no. Like the whole kind of worms where you only have 3 specs but you only have 1 class. It's like it's the whole another fucking discussion, but it's like it's a lot of the stuff that's connected to it. The glamour, the toys, etc.
What the appearance looks like, it doesn't go into a little catalog that you have. As if that wasn't bad enough, and it is. You also can't easily access all of this fucking shit that you...
You also need to keep in mind, like, the fidelity and the graphics for gear in Final Fantasy XIV is a lot higher than in World of Warcraft. In World of Warcraft, it's like a couple of polygons is a fucking new chess piece. And here it's a new model, a new bump map, etc. And possibly new effects that are on fire or whatever. obviously it's like for a normal game that should be fine, but it's like because we're still dealing with spaghetti code, we can only imagine opening 79 pages of chess pieces and you want to check every model. You gotta reload it. It was when you use some tools just to like try on some items, you know, legal ones and not legal ones. Those still need to load in as well. So it's like 14 is just not gonna be capable to have a transmog system, at least not for a while. I'm sure they will establish something eventually, but just probably not now.
Collect it, because there's the armor, there's the glamour dresser, and it's like a process to put it into the glamour dresser, and then there's all your different retainers, and you can't just put it from your retainer straight.
Though the glamour prisms can fuck off. I think that's stupid.
And do the glamour dresser, you've got to...
As well as fucking glamour dispellers.
No, take it out of the retainer, and then put it in the glamour dresser, and then from there... Oh my god. Okay. Whatever.
Deep breaths, Zepla. Deep breaths.
I mean, we all would like that to be fixed. This is a big one. Actually, this one is probably the most damaging one, I think, to the game. That...
Huh? You, like, to buy another game? Or, like... What?
That we don't always see the damage. We're not able to accurately gauge, without the data from Square Enix themselves, how many new players try to play the game but give up because installing the game is too damn complicated. It's so rough, man. Like, if you can make it past making an account and the installing and the making a Mog Station account and a Square Enix account, and then figuring out, okay, do I need to be on the Steam?
Okay, the expansion code thing, I understand. That was a stupid process. I learned that when I pre-ordered Endwalker. As well as Shadowbringers, actually, because I started playing Stormblood. But it's like, when you buy the code, it literally comes with instructions. It is a convoluted process, but every time it comes with... It literally comes with instructions what to do and where to go, and even links. So it's like, I don't exactly agree with this. I understand that the first time it's very tedious to follow. It is a very roundabout way to get into the game, to how to register or how to buy the game, and how many websites you gotta go through. But it definitely should be a lot easier. There is definitely the hardest fucking thing is to just buy the fucking game. But later on, it's again, if you just buy it on the main website, it just literally gives you instructions, and usually the difficulty comes from just everyone skipping the fucking instructions.
Steam store, or do I need to be on the store from the website? And then how are those different? Well, what if I start the free trial on Steam and then I want to go to the regular version of... It's honestly, I think it is a testament to how great Final Fantasy XIV is that we still get so many new players actually making it into and through the game. With how oppressive it is to get people in at all. And I think related to this issue of the new player experience,
they definitely need to change the process to make it a bit more easier.
I remember when I was a brand new player, I found this...
Wait, what? Need some more intuitive and clear UI. Each menu needs a revamp. Each menu, Jesus Christ, aesthetic and server-wise, menus need to feel snappy, responsive, and instantaneous. I'd recommend using Final Fantasy XIII UI as a nice reference. Sword Art Online sound effect. What the fuck? As a WoW refugee, is the one thing that most held me back. Everything's written way too small. The map is impossible to read or understand. The thing is really true. I do agree that interface could be improved. But a lot of these things, like Final Fantasy XIII UI is a nice reference. Sword Art Online sound effects. I don't know what the fuck that means. everything's written way too small. You can definitely increase and stuff.
Very jarring.
They definitely need to improve like the UI editing.
I actually
Like,
remember
make it a
talking
bit more
to,
flexible, a lot more
someone who
options.
had been playing for
Because like
longer
even
than me when I was new, and they were
resizing
like,
some
"Oh,
of the
one thing you can
windows
change about Always 14."
is
And I
janky because
said,
you're trying to find
UI,
a specific
UI
like
is
size for it.
So many menus and crap to click through all the time. And I remember them acting.
I do realize also, but I do appreciate that.
Why users so used to see nothing, they confused when they see their character.
That's true. That's true. Like World of Warcraft are very much used to like full customization due to add-ons of their UI, but I do appreciate like if UI adjusting itself is a bit tedious, especially with like how janky it can be and how limited some specific like sacraments are. But like a lot of the extra options in the UI, like the character settings or other, it's like is very much appreciated. Like double clicking to put down an AoE. Holy fuck! This expansion has been amazing for like scholars or Astro. Like a lot of like functions are just like much appreciated. Like, and every time they add like some little couple of settings that you didn't know you needed, and then you get them, and it's amazing. So it's like, but there is a lot of settings, and it is very daunting to go through all of them. I do agree on that, but I still appreciate them.
Surprised? Like what? UI? And I was like surprised that they were surprised. Like, well, what do you mean? What the UI like? But now I know, after playing for a long time myself, that you just get used to it. You really just get used to it after a while. And if you play for a long time, you forget how impossible it was to read the map or get through the menus or know which menu goes to what whenever you were newer. Hell, I still get lost trying to turn in the little doodads for different gear upgrades. I've been playing this game for a very long time, and every time I have to do that, I still am like, well, wait, so I need the tombstone of the comedy, and I also need an extra one of clownery, and then...
Okay, no, this is a stupid argument, because like in World of Warcraft you have 16 different fucking currencies and reputations that you need to grind out, especially during BFA fucking mana pearls and shit. In Shadowlands it's like ashes and essences and other shit. It's like, no. This is a stupid argument, especially when you just have like 3 tombstone currencies active at the same time, one of which is like discontinued in case you have some leftover. One is like secondary, the one is primary, and then you have some books. It's like the amount of like stuff you need to get is like, especially like compared to something like, for example, Lost Ark. Lost Ark has millions of fucking different currencies just to improve gear. So no, I don't agree with this.
And I need to turn both of those in with my panties to the Aura mail in.
Okay, I do agree where you have to take off your items just to give them in to upgrade them. That's a bit dumb. They need to, like, the seller needs to be able to take off my pants for me, okay? Too much currency is bad, makes a lot of FOMO, and it's overwhelming. I do agree on that one. Like, especially like right now, I have a bunch of fucking books from normal raids or savage raids or like totems or tokens from other stuff. It's already a bit overwhelming, but it's like, it's at least like the system that we have right now, 14, at least makes it easy for us to keep up with it. At least like you understand the system after a while.
And the city, but which one needs them? Oh my god. And this is another thing all related to this big umbrella of the new player experience. Streamline the story. Now,
it's all streamlined. I don't know. I already fucking disagree.
now, you might say, oh, but wait, they already did that. They kind of didn't. Okay, they cut down 13% of Realm Reborn. They spent a ton of time revamping Realm Reborn, and I still feel like they could cut it down a lot more, and it seems that many people do agree. Streamline Realm Reborn a lot more. The game would be massively more populated without the great filter that is Realm Reborn. That's the...
I do agree that Realm Reborn could be cut a lot more, but there's also like a lot of bases for other expansions that, you know, or story bits that come from Realm Reborn. I do agree that it needs a lot less quests, a lot less running to the fucking Waking Sands or the Horizon. Yeah, but as a first expansion, honestly, no. It's like, as a first expansion, it's good. As something that you will start going through and learning and getting some story, I generally agree that the first expansion they go through, or like, well, technically the base game, needs to have a lot more content for them to enjoy. Not just like the free trial up to Stormblood now. No. Expansions should be like additional content for them. The first expansion needs to be like rich in story. It doesn't need to be. Not everyone's gonna find like the amount of quests a grind. Some people do want to be immersed with all the quests and story, even if they did cut down on it.
Second great filter again, the first great filter.
Not everyone. I will acknowledge that this, like, not everyone. I'm a fucking. I used to be a big story skipper myself, but I did go back and redo a lot of the quests in Realm Reborn on alts. So it's like I do feel like I missed out. I do get that this could depend on the person, but if it's a new player, I think they need to be immersed in the base game and not just the expansions.
Filter isn't.
You shouldn't be like encouraging them to immediately go for the end, but by the way, there's gonna be a hurdle and this one's gonna be longer and this is gonna be short. No, let them to fucking explore. Fuck off.
Stalling the game. It gets good in 500 hours, bro. Is not a reasonable request by any means. Well, we'll get good a lot faster than 500 hours. I love the game. It's my favorite FF. Can't fault anyone for dropping it. That's why Yoshipi had been hinting at fairly recently that there might be a fresh start, that people could maybe start at the story for Dawn Trail instead of having to like maybe make that.
I don't think it's gonna be Dawn Trail, honestly. I think it might be Shadowbringers. Yeah, I honestly think it might be just Shadowbringers and not Dawn Trail, because Dawn Trail doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like a place where you're gonna start as a new character group soon. At least not until like the next another two expansions. But if they do plan to implement it, I think it's gonna be Shadowbringers. You start on the first, because it is a small enough world for you to quest and explore, and then come over to our world and find this brand new world that you can start questing through and exploring. But I don't think it's gonna be Dawn Trail area.
Possible to skip for new players. I think that makes a lot of sense. With a new story arc, I wouldn't have any issue with that. It seems like the right time to do that, because I agree, as time goes on, it starts to get really crazy to tell people, hey, I really wish you would play Final Fantasy XIV with me, but before you can, please play 400 hours of content. And no, you're not allowed to skip it. You better not. You better not. Anyway. Of course, I've seen a huge range of different things that people have requested and wanted. Things like wanting housing to be improved in various ways, wanting job design to be more interesting, and wanting Lalafels to be able to jump on your back and use you as a mount right on your shoulders. Like,
of course, fucking Jesse Cox will suggest that.
Jesse is still at it. Jesse is still campaigning for that. He has not forgotten. Stuff like wanting a calendar, wanting level sync to feel less bad, because it sucks to get level synced down, and you don't get to keep your whole kit. Like, that feels bad. I agree. Look, there was a lot of different things, but today I really just wanted to focus on the ones that, like, an insane number of people.
Oh, is this like the end of the video? Oh no, she still has like a quarter to
and just kept going back
find something to complain about.
So the last biggest one, probably the biggest one, is...
What do you guys think is going to be the biggest one? I'm actually curious now, because it was like, after the last two videos, it can literally be anything. The way she over-dramatizes things, like, this is the biggest one. And I swear to God, if it's going to be like raid difficulty or something. All right, let's see.
The reward structure, the gearing, the itemization, and how all of that works. That's the main problem with everything. They need to either change the gear to make it more interesting and varied and award more of it, or they need to give us more than 2 options for BIS, tome or raid.
I do agree. I do agree on that part. I do think like more content, like for example, Criterion should be giving us books as well. But I also think like we need one more set of each, like one more tombstone set and one more raid set. Let's say like red and blue of each. So we would have at least like 4 sets to pick from. They could be just recolors. You don't need new models, honestly. I don't think anyone will mind. But I feel like that will literally come after they fix Tenacity and Piety. And a couple of other things. Because right now everyone's just building crit and crit determination, crit direct hit rate, or spell speed determination. Or spell or skill speed determination. Unless you add set bonus, there is no need for different sets. No, there is. If they fix the stats, let's say, for example, let me just bring in an example. If they make Tenacity a imported stat, right? Let's say your defensives scale with Tenacity, right? That changes a lot of fucking things, doesn't it? Because you're gonna need a balance of Tenacity. They did buffed it, no? Yeah, but no one's fucking using it. The issue is not how buffed it is, it's like, it's how useful it is. Because people still want to do more damage, but it's like, if, let's say, and this is me just theorizing, right? If Tenacity, because like, for example, it's like, we have a lot of defensive that just delete a good chunk of damage, right? I put wings on the group, everyone takes 10% less, 15% less damage. And, but what if was less unless I have more Tenacity? Tenacity gives me more healing, improves my defensives, and I need a certain amount of Tenacity to make my defensives good enough to survive certain mechanics. A lot of, like for off-tanking and etc. So now, I have a need for 2 sets, for example. A flexible set for more damage, depending if I'm main tanking or off tanking, and a flexible set for off tanking. Won't it create problems for low geared people? No. Because materia still exists. They can still get certain items and still materia. If they're low geared, it's like it's still you have crafted gear. This is towards like optimization and towards like dealing with mechanics. If they're low geared, again, it's like, if you're low geared, you can still have a chunk of Tenacity to make your defensives work. It depends like how stats scale. Or like, for example, that this will differentiate main tank and off tank, right? Same with Piety. It's like, if Piety wasn't just about how much mana you regenerate, and instead of like, Piety would increase, let's say, and this is just theory. If Piety would increase how much HOTS heal. Every healer has HOTS, right? Let's say defensives are unaffected. Actually, defensive skills as well. What if they're affected by Piety as well? So it's not just crits, it's not just direct hit rate for damage, it's not just determination for overall heals. Depending on the healer, you either want better HOTS, you either want better defensives, you want better damage, depending what kind of healer you are, what kind of skills you got. Not really convinced, but Tenacity defense needs something more because it's just uninteresting. Exactly, it's like, so if you fix Piety and Tenacity, you already have options to make 2 separate sets of the same item. For example, one chest piece is crit determination, the other one is like skill speed determination or something like along those lines. Same with tombstones, it's like you have enough stats to make specific pieces interesting. So it's like, add another set of the same items, just do different stats, and change Piety Tenacity. And honestly, increase the amount of books they cost, but just a little, so people would have interest to go into other content. For example, if Criterion would drop an extra book, bam, gimme. People already do high Piety for proc, yeah, but they do it so they can spam heals. Once they're comfortable, they go for damage. Because Piety essentially is useful once like, this is why healer is like the most boring job on Earth. Once you have your timeline and you just do mechanics and just spam your 1 dot and 1 DPS button, it's boring. It's nothing. You don't need Piety because you already planned out you already know what you're going to be doing for the next like 19 minutes if you're, for example, doing DSR. That's why healing is boring. So it would come down to just changing the stats a bit, adjusting, so that people are more relying on different sets. And this will already structure the game. I guess the fun is the theory, not the practice. Exactly. Obviously, there will be people who will want that 100% parse, but it's like, that's not going to be priority for the devs. For the devs, it's going to be like to develop something for theory crafting, or something to have fun, for something to be more flexible. Otherwise, we're always going to have the same BIS. One raid ring, one fucking crafted ring, etc., etc., etc. Stuff like that. Right, let's continue.
Get loot. It seems like someone was right.
But they also should adjust, like, for example, loot in alliance raids. If the alliance raid comes out after the specific raid tier, you definitely need to have either same item level as the raid, Savage Raid, or close to it. Like, let's say Tombstone, unaugmented Tombstone gear item level. That would work. But it's always just fucking 16 yards below it. Same with weapons. It's like, the extremes give you weapons. That's great, but now we don't need crafted weapons. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like I do like that we get cool weapons from extremes, but I feel like there needs to be more to it. Maybe like some other pieces. Maybe you can build a book. Maybe you can clear an extreme on a weekly basis, get a part of a book, like get pages, and then you can build a book of of your choice. But it would be nice for healer to have longer caster damage spell, 2.5, that does more damage but can't weave with it, so you have to optimize your faster GCD usage to be minimal. I don't know, I'm actually enjoying the 1.5. Because the GCD is still 2.5, but it lets me weave, unlike the previous expansion where I would cast for 2.5, but I would need to either swift cast or do like my Broil 2 and Scholar just to be able to weave. So it's like, I don't mind 1.5, it's actually a bit more comfortable for me, but I feel like that's specifically preference. Alright, let's continue.
About this all along.
The reward system in
Oh, Xeno.
14 has always been absolute fucking abysmal. You have the raid, and it's like a set item level, and then every piece of content that comes out after the raid that is supposed to help you with the raid is lower item level.
Yeah, see what I mean? It's like, we're getting some gear, but I feel like it's just for the casuals to get the gear to do nothing with it. It's not helping anyone with the gear.
You don't understand it. By the time that the new content comes out that's supposed to help you with the raid tier is already deader than dead. Basically, you would have more people do this trial if it dropped a BIS. You would have more people do this 24-man if it dropped BIS accessories. This would also be amazing for alts. So even if you had...
I don't agree with BIS accessories. Because I feel like an alliance raid... Maybe, actually, the more I think about it, maybe it could drop like accessories. But again, I don't think it needs to be a Savage Raid, but like Tombstone level, unaugmented. Like, it shouldn't be that easy to get BIS item level just from clearing Alliance Raid and not getting killed by someone out of the other 23 people, sorry.
I've already said all this, man. I've been saying this for years.
Why is he so quiet?
The biggest issue
Oh.
with the raid gearing
She
is
made it
that
quiet.
it seems like the timescales are way off. Like, they just don't match with reality at all. Right now, the raid tier, you can't really farm it.
I also think like the Tombstone needs to fucking go up soon. Honestly, make the items themselves like a third more expensive, but double the amount of tombstones we can get per week. Because soon we will have, currently we have 20, we have 19 jobs because Blue Mage, and we'll have 21 in Dawn Trail. Fucking, for a game where like playing multiple jobs is a selling point, or just like encouraged, that is a bit like, that's atrocious. Like 450, it's like, how long are you gonna be grinding that shit? Soon we're gonna have enough jobs that you're gonna be grinding tombstones, and by the time the next patch comes out, you're still not gonna be done with the jobs you want to gear up. It's like even if you're gearing up for Glamour, for example.
For loot until 8 months have passed. So the raid comes out.
Yeah, the tombstone cap
and then
needs
the
to
next
fucking go
major
up.
Patch comes out 4 months later. And by that point, that's an odd-numbered patch. That's supposed to be a catch-up patch. But by that point, it's been 4 months since the raid came out, Savage came out, and no one cares about it anymore. So that gear should be easy to get 4 months after the fact. Hopefully sooner, but by 4 months, damn, like if you still haven't gotten the Savage gear, shouldn't they make it a lot easier to get the Savage level gear? And by the time the new content comes out, well, they don't. They don't. Like the Alliance raid comes out on that odd-numbered patch, and it doesn't drop Savage level gear. Sometimes
I don't think it should drop Savage level gear. Unaugmented tombstone gear, maybe. Savage? Fuck no, are you mental? Like, don't the value of clearing a Savage fight and getting gear from it is just gonna go fucking down the drain because people are just gonna not want to do it because they're gonna get easy gear from Alliance raid. Tombstone gear maybe, but not Savage level gear. Don't be that fucking crazy.
an ultimate raid will come out on that odd-numbered patch, and you need to have cleared Savage to go into it.
Alliance raid is fine as it is now. Yeah, it depends. It could be better. Like the rewards specifically, because that gear is just going nowhere other than the Glamour dresser.
Need that Savage level gear real bad to do ultimate, but it's not exactly falling off the trees. You have to, that's supposed to be a catch-up patch. So why not have the Savage gear drop from 24 minutes? Have the Savage gear level gear.
Also, by this logic, it would mean like people who clear Alliance raid should go into fucking ultimates by this fucking logic, which is fucking atrocious to even think about. Let's say Alliance raid will just help you skip like the tombstone farming. Get that sorted. But but like little Timmy who got carried through an Alliance raid, let's say he's a casual, he suddenly has Biz for ultimate and he then goes into Party Finder and ruins Steve's fucking day by just asking what the fuck is it, Asuna? It's like no, don't be that fucking crazy. Tombstone gear maybe, but not Savage raid gear. Alliance raid should not fucking reward you for being carried by 20 other people.
Your drop from Criterions at that point. Let their
especially when you can res people in other parties.
What's a cooldown?
What's a cooldown? Exactly. Like you have no idea how. Like a lot of the people will skip the you know the smith that teaches you like the basics of the game. They will skip it. They will not care. They do not understand the basics. Like a lot of the healers, for example, will say like, I don't have to DPS because I'm a healer. You know what the smith fucking teaches you? If there's nothing to heal, do damage. I shit you not. It gives an experience ring. That's true. Level 30. I know that one. But it's like, it teaches a lot of the useful stuff, but people will skip it. They will not give a shit.
more pathways for people to gear up their current job and alt jobs. There's just, I don't really see, I don't really see a reason why they wouldn't let this be. I just don't see a reason why they are making it so hard, so long after the Savage tier is even relevant, for people to get the gear they need to do it. We just need different ways, different routes to get to where you want to go, and that's just going to make the game more interesting.
I do agree that we need more options. That's why I honestly would just hope that Criterion Dungeons would either give us a book or at least upgrade items like the shine and whatnot. Something.
Overall,
at least something that would make it worth for people to re-clear it on a weekly basis.
Like, not everybody wants to sit there and farm tombstones the same way in Duty Roulette every day for months and months and months. Like, there's got to be some more ways, efficient ways, to get the tombstones. If you.
Another idea is that the Criterion drops an item similar to a tombstone or a tombstone that you collect, and you can get a tombstone item. Like, it's not a book, but like it's a totem, for example. You can get a tombstone item from clearing Criterion without having to farm fucking tombstones every week. So it would help speed up that process, for example. That'd be fucking great.
You're gonna be asked to grind so many of them. to place different jobs, then maybe have different things besides just duty roulette, because not even if you like duty roulette at first, you might want to do something else one day. It honestly feels like it's just an antiquated system and it's old, and they never got around to critically thinking about, well, is this even working now? How are players really engaging with this? And is this
I kind of understand where they're coming from, building systems like this, because it's like it's to avoid people like just doing everything in one day and fucking quitting the game. Because like you can essentially just get BIS in one day as soon as the raid drops, if you're lucky enough with drops, or if you're like a DPS and you're going to be prioritized for BIS. And if tombstones are even easier to get, that's, I understand, but the cap needs to fucking go up. Because a lot of people are multi-job players, or they play in multiple statics, for example. It's like, it needs to go up. You cannot be farming fucking 450 and expect to be done with 21 jobs soon. Anytime soon. Especially when you have items that cost like 2 weeks worth of tomes.
Is this a system that is helping us?
Or it needs to be unlocked way sooner. Or like go up to 900 way sooner. Like not just like at the end of the expansion the tombstones go up to 900, but like for every raid tier, eventually, like let's say a couple of months later, it goes to 900 instead of 450.
Or is it hurting us? Is this an obstacle for players, or is it meant to give the gear value? Because right now it definitely feels like a much bigger obstacle than it needs to be. But at the same time, it also seems like something that's relatively easy to fix. So Yoshi P did say they are going to add new rewards to Criterion in the next patch. I seriously doubt they'll put BIS gear in there, but who knows? Anything could happen.
No one's gonna put BIS gear into a fucking Criterion dungeon. Again, it's like the moment you put BIS gear into other content, it's gonna devalue like getting that BIS by fucking a margin. No chance. Maybe if it drops books. Maybe if it drops like something that can help you get tombstones better. Well, not tombstone, but tombstone gear. Kind of stupid. Once you clear the raid, the hardest to get is actually tombstone gear. Exactly. It's like the easiest part to get is the hardest one to get because it's capped. It's so dumb. And if you, God forbid, you are a working man and you don't cap 1 week, you are behind. You are behind forever.
There's so many beautiful things about Final Fantasy XIV. Like, I love experimenting with different jobs and bouncing around different playstyles because it can actually make you a better player to see what it's like to be a tank. That might teach you about healing. If you heal, it might teach you about tanking, actually. And it helps you relate to other players better, and I think it just helps you be more well-rounded. That's the type of play that they should absolutely encourage, but it just sometimes, it feels like with the game, it's like a beautiful garden and there are these flowers growing in it that you could see they're blooming, but if you don't trim some of the weeds that are going around, then they might get smothered and die. So I kind of see problems like shitty itemization that gets in the way.
Not just the weeds, by the way. If a plant is growing a bit too big on its own, it might not have enough nourishment or like the way it feeds itself to feed the rest of its body. So sometimes people will cut off those branches as well. So maybe we need to get rid of dungeons and put all the energy into raid. Let's go.
Of players wanting to play the game as they want, like systems that just feel
get rid of ocean fishing,
cumbersome
and housing,
and old and
everything into
bothersome to get through, and like make you just not even want to worry about it, or discourage you from playing
delete old mounts, give me more weapons,
different ways. Just gotta snip all that shit out, man. Just gotta cut all that shit out of there, so that way the beauty of the game can shine through. What players actually enjoy can be appreciated and embraced. So that's really all for today. I would love to hear from you. Let me know what kind of changes, improvements, or fixes that you would like to see to Final Fantasy XIV going forward. What are your favorite things about the game? And
getting gear. That's my favorite thing. Yeah. That was a good video. Ish.